There is a charm to the stories that are told to us over a campfire or late at night at a friend's house, particularly because of the levels of uncertainty which surround them, leaving much to the imagination. Though there are rare instances where evidence subverts our expectations, showing that a story, rather than being one of fiction, actually turns out to be one of fact. At the turn of the millennium, everyone was just beginning to learn about the dangers of meeting people on the internet. Word was getting around about a mysterious chat room user by the name of Slave Master and his alleged twisted behavior. The computer user would get an email from someone in their buddy list, reading as follows: "If a guy by the name of Slave Master contacts you, do not answer. He has killed 56 women that he has talked to on the internet." This was all happening during the advent of the chain letter. Because of this, messages like these were starting to be taken less seriously, or at least only by a handful of superstitious people. This was the case until June of 2000. John Edward Robinson of Cicero, Illinois, was arrested and charged with sexual battery and theft. Police obtained a search warrant and discovered the decomposing bodies of 2 missing women inside chemical drums on his farm. Further investigation proved that he was in fact luring women over the internet using the name Slave Master, and was purportedly part of a secret sadomasochism cult. The truth was out, and people now had more reason to be afraid. What was, for a very long time, considered nothing more than Mexican folklore actually became reality in 2014. Passed on over generations was the legend of the Puebla Tunnels. It was believed that the conquistadors who founded the city also built a series of large underground tunnels primarily used for protection and easy mobility in the chance that they were in combat. The length of these tunnels increased over time, and eventually spanned over 6 miles. They were reportedly built in the 1530s, and went hidden from the public for almost 500 years, although its discovery was not from a group of archaeologists. It was completely unintentional. A construction crew assigned to remodel the city found a part of the underground structure, and the Puebla History Center quickly got involved. Everything they saw matched the stories that had been told. The tunnels have been regarded as culturally significant and have since been turned into a public attraction for visitors. A story that has circulated many parts of Kentucky claims that the state is home to an isolated village of people known as the Blue Fugates. The year was 1820, and French orphan Martin Fugate settled in the troublesome Creek area of eastern Kentucky and married a red-headed woman named Elizabeth Smith. Though by the strangest of circumstances, 4 out of 7 of their children all entered the world with blue skin and brown blood. Quickly being deemed as outlandish and therefore ostracized by society at the time, the Fugates retreated from the rest of the public, living their lives in solitude, and only passing on the family name through inbreeding, which was not necessarily uncommon in those days. With the members of the family being relatively unseen for the next 200 years, people were not exactly sure of their existence. Although it turns out that self-claimed eyewitnesses were not bluffing after all. The story was true, and they are in fact blue people. Martin and Elizabeth both carried the genetic makeup to pass on a trait called methemoglobinemia, which causes the body to produce more of a particular hemoglobin than usual, causing the skin to turn blue. Since it is a recessive trait, Inbreeding caused offspring to almost always inherit this gene. The Fugates have since become an integral part of southeastern mythology and the product of a medical anomaly. Word was quickly going around in 1888 that during London's dark, misty nights, a man was killing and mutilating the bodies of multiple women. With his identity unknown, he was nicknamed Jack the Ripper, terrorizing England every night with a new victim. The events surrounding Jack the Ripper were those which raised many questions with the general public. No one had ever seen anything like this before. The fact that this unknown killer essentially saw his victims as cadavers, which insinuated that he had a proficient knowledge with human anatomy, is in of itself a mystery. Initially, the story was too unbelievable for some, and in many respects was passed off as none other than a legend, which happened to be associated with a few coincidental tragic deaths. Though skepticism began to diminish when more women appeared, killed in a very similar fashion. The story solidified when Scotland Yard received a letter from a man who coined the term Jack the Ripper himself, explaining his gruesome methods and his horrifying plans for the future. It is not known for certain if the letter is in fact genuine, but the perpetrator behind Jack the Ripper was never found, and a story that was once briefly thought to be fiction was none other than very real. In the mid-2000s, an urban legend was slowly forming in the small town of Greenock, Scotland, that many residents found disturbing. There were claims of a strange man stalking the alleyways of the city during its late night hours and living deep within the sewers during the day. He was described to be a dark figure with glowing eyes, reflective skin, and a craving for giant rats. He was named the Catman. No one knows the origins of the Catman, but rumors say that he is a Russian sailor that had been stranded back in the mid-1970s. With no money or roof over his head, he resorted to living in the sewers, with rats being his only source of food. Others have speculated that he was an escapee from a nearby psychiatric hospital. All of the evidence for the Catman's existence remained only anecdotal for a long time, but in 2007, things changed dramatically. A video was uploaded to YouTube showing the Catman in the flesh, and can be seen eating a rat right in front of the camera. Multiple photographs of the man then soon began to spread from other sources over time. Scotland authorities now knew that this was a man clearly in need of psychiatric help and conducted a search, though no recent sightings of him have surfaced, so his current whereabouts are unknown. Whether or not the Catman was found by authorities or is actively in hiding is a complete mystery, and has since become a legend in of itself. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and check out the links below. I will soon be doing a collaboration with a user named Slave Master. He sounds like a really nice guy.